I'm Mel,
And I'm Andrea.
and we've been asking ourselves, WTF? Where's the fun?
So welcome to our podcast for heart-led business leaders, entrepreneurs, and CEOs ready for more. More impact, more wealth, more joy, and more magic, all while having even more fun than ever before.
As co-founders of FunX, we believe that life and business is way more fulfilling when you're following the fun.
So we're flipping the script on success, giving you permission to create from a whole new paradigm where you can have a lasting impact while nurturing your well-being and having a freaking blast along the way.
So join us each week for engaging solo episodes
and real conversations with experts who are embodying this new paradigm of leadership, spiritual wealth, business growth, and of course, fun.
If you're ready to reignite your spark, make bold moves, and lead from a whole new energy,
Let's jump in and have some fun.
Welcome to WTF. Where's the fun? I'm Mel,
And I'm Andrea.
and today we're doing a fun little solo episode.
Yes.
We've decided we're going to talk about our number one highlight, our number one takeaway, and our number one thing we learned in 2024.
It sounds weird saying 2024. I don't know why. I was
Well-
expecting you to say 2025.
I know, I feel like you are already in 2025.
Yeah.
But let's finish 2024 first.
Okay.
Okay. So, what do you think your number one highlight for 2024 was?
I think when I think it versus feeling it, it's going to be a different answer.
Okay.
When I feel into it, I would say my number one highlight for 2024. And if you've listened to our last podcast episode, well, it wasn't our last one. It was earlier in this month, and it was all around a hike that we took. And basically, my highlight is signing with Loud Management. So speaking has been on my heart this year. When we first started in 2024, it's like that was the vision for this year. And I officially signed last week with them, and we have some really fun plans for 2025 and beyond, just to bring this message of fun and fulfillment out into the world. And
Shout out Loud Management.
and why it's my biggest highlight. One is I've been holding the vision for this for what seems like forever now. And two, it just feels so aligned, like truly divinely guided in so many different ways. Like it's one of those experiences where I feel like I could cry with gratitude, because I just feel like it's one of those things that has been on my heart, and I'm very excited, but also feel very honored to be part of this.
Yeah. And I mean, it's going to be a lot of work on our end. And that's also part of the exciting part too.
I feel like it's my next level of growth. I
Yeah.
really do. So I think the highlight is that.
That's exciting.
Yes. Say, what's your highlight? What do you feel like is your biggest highlight?
Hands down, by far. And if you know anything about us, you know that we pivoted at the end of last year. And so my highlight for 2024 is what we have built and our mastermind for our fun experience. It honestly brought me so much joy, so much more fulfillment. I could cry. Spending time. This is how you know you're in alignment, is through this. But it is my highlight. Watching people win, it has been so rewarding. Watching people grow into the version that they want to be has made my year. Ask me another question.
I love it. One of our mentors, Dr. John DeMartini, is a human behavioral specialist, and he always said, pay attention to when you have tears of gratitude, because it means you're on the right track.
Yeah, man.
Today's episode of WTF, Where's the Fun,
is sponsored by The Fun Experience, a curated mastermind for established business owners, entrepreneurs, and CEOs ready for more. More magic, more joy, more wealth, and more fun than ever before. So if you're ready for a peer-to-peer mastermind that's helping you to embody more leadership, more impact, and make bold moves, The Fun Experience is where it's at.
You nailed it. Okay, so highlight. So the next one is your takeaway. What's one of your biggest takeaways?
Let's start with you. I need to collect myself. What's your biggest takeaway?
I don't know if I have the words to share kind of the depth and the magnitude of this, but for me, my biggest takeaway really has been following that inner, I don't even know, like that inner knowing, that voice,
Your intuition?
your intuition, but even like that divine guidance that's coming through. Like this time last year. So if you don't know the story, this time last year we had closed our traditional coaching business, and what was coming through on our hearts was really more co-creation. We wanted more collaboration. We knew we weren't meant to do solely one-on-ones, that we were meant to have a larger impact and with groups. And that was just something I didn't have proof or really even language around it. It was just this inner knowing. And the more we tuned into it and tapped into it, it was like it was so clear that that was where we were being guided to go. But what wasn't clear was the how. What wasn't clear was even the what. We had
Yeah.
not really an idea of how or what we wanted to do. But what we knew was there was this pull towards, I really believe, where we were divinely guiding or being guided to go. So the takeaway was being able to tune into that enough and to really not have to know all the details, but just
Yeah.
intuitively take like little baby steps. And then we signed this time last year with like a coach in
The UK?
the UK, which was also super random, but so helpful. And it was for my speaking. And then what she helped us to do was actually create the fun experience, was so not what I thought we were focusing on, but it was brilliant in the sense that that is something where not only is sharing the message of fun and fulfillment important, but having a space where we can help people embody it.
Yeah.
And I would say this time last year, I had absolutely, other than the idea that I knew we were guided to help more groups and expand our impact, really had no idea what this year was going to have for us. And I can say my takeaway was like really leaning into that. And it is like beyond the best year that we have ever had. And why I say that is because I do feel like, one, we're just getting started.
Mhm.
But two, I do feel like we're more aligned, more connected, more inspired than I think we ever have been. But I think everything that happened up until this point has led to this moment. So again, it's like, I don't know how to put this into like very concise, short sentence, but I guess it's following the power of what is that inkling that,
Yeah, your intuition.
yeah, it was my intuition, but it was almost like I guess this is intuition, but like a deep, it was what my heart was basically calling me to do.
I think you did. I watched you do a good job of that this year, throughout the year, of following like that little fucking voice, that little nudge. You did a good job of that for sure, and better than most years, for sure.
I think I did it with more trust this year and more and why I think I did it with more trust is because I can start now to hear that voice getting louder inside than the shoulds that are on the outside, which
Yeah.
I think has been a practice.
My takeaway from this year was to keep going, even when it doesn't make any sense. Keep going, like holding your bigger vision, and just keep going. I think that was mine. There was a few things this year where it was like, I don't know how this is going to happen, but we're going to keep chugging along and doing step by step of getting there. And then it all works out. Yeah. Okay. So what's the biggest thing you've learned this year?
So I was going to say something else, but as you were talking, this actually popped into my head. And I don't know if it's the biggest lesson I've learned, but it was, I think, one of the most helpful lessons that, and like, I would say it's really truly been really the foundation of how we created the fun experience.
Yeah.
So the lesson is market research.
That's true.
And
not enough people do it.
not doing it and we knew market research was important, and we're always the types that are like, let's get feedback, let's do like always doing that type of stuff. But I think why I would say it was my biggest like learning lesson this year is our approach for market research changed completely in how we did it. And it was actually, so the coach that we're working with in the UK, her name's Angela, and she's absolutely brilliant. Yeah, she was like, so you got to do market research. She goes, you have this idea, you want to help people in groups, you got to figure out like, what is it? So we actually started with ourselves, like, what is it that we want? And part of that was almost, we treated it like a relationship. It's like, but we're non-negotiables. We want a business that loved us. But then we also genuinely wanted something that not only was deeply impactful, but also that's something other people really wanted.
Yeah.
And the best way to figure that out was to talk to people. So at the beginning of the year, we talked to, and when I say beginning of the year, I think it was like January, we talked to 60 just heart-centered, aligned, established business owners all over Zoom. Some in person, but mostly over Zoom. And we learned so much. I think we accelerated.
I think part of it's going in without expectations. Like, as entrepreneurs, you usually throw things at the wall. You're like, I'm just going to keep throwing things until something sticks and I'll run with that. Where we were like, no, we aren't doing that. We are literally using their words, following the data. Basically, that's what you're doing, is collecting data. And we were like, even if we have an idea in our head of where this is going, we had to put that aside, and you have to be a scientist for your business, and you have to follow the data.
Well, it was the data, but it was also the energetics. And I think this is where the police detective in me loved it, because I loved seeing the patterns. And what we found from speaking with these 60 established business owners, that there was an energetics behind it. And there was really probably a core 20 that we really felt like we could be a great co-creation for what they wanted, what our superpower was. And just I would say in resonance with each other. And that is basically the foundation that we created the Fun Experience Mastermind. And what I think was the lesson about that is, not only did we learn how to basically use this kind of method to really get clear on what we want, but we were actually able to help a lot of other business owners implement it with their business. In a way that feels so aligned, so truly heart-centered, and actually fun. I actually loved it. I didn't want to get out of market research, because at a certain point I was like, I'm obsessed with this. But I don't think we'll ever truly get out of the market research space, because I think that we're always growing and evolving. So that has been my biggest learning lesson, is how quickly that will collapse time. I think that collapsed times for us, and actually learning what people truly want in what probably would have took us a year and a half. We did it probably a month and a half. What's yours?
What I learned this year, is that the question? I learned, and it took until halfway through the year to learn this. And it's always getting better, but I think it's learning how to manage people's expectations. And that really boils down to have effective communication with people. And as long as you can do that, everybody can be happy, and expectations are on the table, and everybody's on the same page, and there's no guessing. And that really stuck with me this year. Shout out to Kim Hubert, who taught me that lesson.
And I think why that's so important for any business owner, but specifically for you, because your highest value is community building and connection. And then I think the extra bonus to that is you really get to, it becomes again a co-creation, a constantly loving relationship with whoever you're in it with, whether it's a client, Meaning, where are they coming from? What is it that they're wanting and expecting? How can we communicate that in a loving way?
Yeah,
But literally, you could use that for anything.
I know, anything. So I think that was definitely probably my biggest lesson this year.
Okay, I have one more quick question. What is the point of going over what your biggest takeaway, your biggest highlight, and your biggest really learning lesson is? Why do that?
You got it. You have to do that. You have to reflect on it. You have to, I think it's the way to you get better too. It's like, even with the lesson I learned about managing expectations, that was huge for me this year, and I'm running with that next year. So I think it only helps you getting better. But if you sit and you're like, one, what was your highlight? Like, that's a celebration. Two, what was your takeaway?
Yeah.
And three, what did you learn this year? And how are you going to move forward with that new skill or lesson or whatever? But yeah. Yep.
Oh, I think it brings the energy to life. It helps to
Kind of
almost,
Zach excited going into 2025 too.
and if this, like, for us, we usually, and we wanted you to experience what we would do typically on a walk. This is what I love to do when I'm walking,
You go to literally the conversations that we have when we sit and have coffee in the morning.
because it moves, it moves the energy and it gains momentum. And then from that, you can continue to grow. And it really, I think, from almost a place of gratitude
Yeah.
and joy.
Yeah.
So I invite you. What are your highlights? What's your takeaway? What's something that you learned this year?
Yeah.
And each year is going to be different. And if you want to share with us one of them.
Yeah.
What's one of your highlights?
That'd be amazing. Thanks for listening to WTF. Where's the fun?
We're Andrea and Mel, and we're so excited to be on this journey with you to see how fun it can get.
If today's episode brought a little bit more fun into your world, be sure to subscribe, share with a friend, and leave us a review.
And remember, life and business is so much better when you're following the fun. So let's have some fun.